Very welcome to my audience. I am very glad that you all here today, and I am pleased to dive into the capture world together with you. Just 1 month ago, our private and also business life was quite different. The world has been challenged in the last time, but the most important is that the rapid solutions were found, and with the help of digitalization. So here we see than ever before that the companies have to react on the continuous change of technologies, of the business environment, of the regulations, and we can support you with all of this. You might hear a very famous sentence about water by Bruce Lee. It says, if you put water into a cup, it becomes the cup. If you put water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. Be water, my friend. I am more than 10 years in the IT branch, being an expert, and I have learned that commitment to be adaptive, to be flexible, is a key for the success and for the improvement. And in the area of the digital transformation, there is for majority of the companies a big potential to keep stable and successful. And now we will go to the capture world, to the document capture, and we'll see what it can bring to you, what it can bring for your business. And here it is important on which level of the capture you are now. The first level our customers do is document digitizing. And this is about scanning and also about electronic archive. The next step is content digitizing, so it means getting business relevant data from the document. We go further, and especially for the healthcare customers, it is important to have a workplace for correction and validation. And here you see an example of that. And of course, a very important one, triggering of the business process steps by the captured data. And here we have an example how a customer record is created and how the process is triggered with this. The last step, the big one, the interesting one, when we integrate not only the process with capture, but we integrate outbound with inbound, that we can also create document definitions on the fly or extend existing document definitions, so extractions definitions. And the first questions to you, do you already digitize your documents? I assume you do, but very often it's not enough because there are very many scan systems which are not functional enough, and in the Papyrus we stress on the automatization, yeah? So on the scanner which can split your documents. And also, of course, we shouldn't forget electronic archiving. And this is not only that, because we have several inbound channels. So, and you would like to automate not only the scanning, but also, of course, email, social media, also fax. We also have customers who are doing fax still. And you don't want to do many definitions for that. You would like to have just one which defines for all these channels how the documents are being extracted. And when we talk about the content here, yeah, you have all this digital information also with social media messages, and of course you need to get words which are only business relevant. Yeah? So you have millions and billions words inside these documents, and you only need to get content that matters for your business, which can trigger your business process, and so on. And we had one customer from the USA who came to us with a challenge to reduce the processing time of the thousands document from 4 days to 1 day. And they are pressed with a very tight service level agreements, with a very tight CLAs. And this is in the healthcare industry, and they're actually producing the medical devices, very, very important. And we implemented with them, first of all, automation in classification, in extraction, in acquisition channels. And second of all, the graphical user interface where their clerks can validate the content and where their clerks can correct their content. And this is the guided system. And they had so much success in the project that they also rolled it out not only in the USA, but then in Europe as well.
But Ekaterina,
yes?
This sounds very interesting. I just received a question from our audience, and they would like to know how long this took to implement this project.
Well, of course, it depends on the project and what you would like to achieve. But if we talk about this particular customer, it was done in like over 10 weeks, and this was complete implementation in the USA. Yeah? So it was the implementation of the platform, it was capture processes, it was also integration with the database and with the cloud.
Oh, really? So this can also run in the cloud?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have this customer who runs Google Cloud, and you can, of course, install it also in Amazing Cloud and very different kinds, but you can also run it on your premises in your local setup. So we have both possibilities. But these are very good questions, very, very important. Thank you. And we go further. When we're talking about triggering the data by the captured documents and captured content, we would like to have not only starting of the process with this document, but also interacting in the process which is already running by triggering manual and also automatical tasks in the process. And here where platform comes. So platforms enables this seamless integration. And when we talk about the changes, the goal, or what our customers want, is to empower business users and to relieve the IT so that IT doesn't need to do everything. And in this case, the user-trained technologies play a very important role, and we do it with the business designer, with the capture in the business designer. When we're talking about confidence, yeah, because every system where you're not confident with is not good. You would like to have that nothing is lost, that you are compliant, and also that you can audit and monitor the processes which have to be monitored. And here again, where platform is very important, because with all the data interfaces, you cannot achieve so much stability and confidence in comparison with a platform. And we are doing capture since 1999, and here you see Papyrus Capture modules. Of course, the first steps are acquisition from different channels, the classification and automatic separation if needed, extraction and validation, mostly automatic, and if needed also correction from the clerks, especially in the healthcare. And then the data which have been captured go to the back office for the collaborative work. And of course, here in the center we have archive, which can be put into every module of these capture steps. Monitoring is, of course, very important. We see here an example of our scan operator workplace, and you see that the documents are coming and they are already separated. So this is this automation you would like to reach. Of course, here the scan operator can do everything possible to scan one more page, to do the rotation of the documents, to do splitting and merging, and so on and so on. But behind the scenes is the most important, what makes it automatic and also what makes it defined just once for different channels. You see that we can scan from paper, and we also can scan from already digitized files in the same way and split them in the same way. And you also see here the splitting, that you can do it with barcode, you can do it with empty page, and you have a button design where you can customize your definition. Imagine how you can automate thousands of pages which are coming to the system, and then the clerk just need to press the button and they are separated. Of course, when we're talking about different channels, there is a variety of documents coming into the system. It's not only fixed form, but also complex documents, unstructured documents, and also the content is very, very different inside. It's printed text, it's handwritten text, checkboxes, signatures, barcodes, and so on and so on. And what is important, again, you need to get only relevant content out of this. And here where the document analysis comes to the game with different patterns, with different keywords, layouts, and a combination of all of these. And then you get in the system via your inbound channels the documents, they go via recognition server, and you get your content. And then if you need a correction or validation by the user, you come to a completion workplace. This is a guided workplace. And here you see that the system already highlighted the fields which are valid and also marked with red the fields which the user have to correct or have to prove. And there are variety of different possibilities how the user can do it. This example is when you work with the database. You look for this customer and you take over this data for this customer, and then the content will be filled. Here the user just click confirm, and then you see they are in green. They are confirmed by the user. Another possibility is to take over the content with mouse. This is not a goal that you print something in, but you see the variety of highlighted words which you can just take over by clicking, and you click for this invoice number. Yeah? So this is another possibility. And then we come to the tables. You see how the user can go via them for the improvement if needed, and also there are different functions in the menu what you can do with the table. And here, while we see how it is done, how you can correct it or add some fields, it is important to say that we worked with one of our customers in Switzerland who have very complicated documents, and these documents has to be completed in a very tight time. And we worked with them to extend this view with very many possibilities, very many functions in order to do it very fast and also very convenient for the user. So it's not only about shortcuts or how system performs, it's about which functions you enable in such a view. Of course, if you validate or correct, we need also monitoring. And here is very important to see what was already processed and which documents haven't been processed yet, and especially so-called carryovers, what came in the past but what was not processed yet. And this is what helps to keep the service level agreements very much. Now we will have a look how Capture triggers the business process in the Papyrus system. And we see the form, which was actually created with our correspondence framework, also with Papyrus. And then this form is filled by the end customer and sent to a Papyrus email, which is connected to the business process. And we see how it is attached. So it will be sent now. And we go to the next step. A process was created. And here you see that this document is already inside this case, inside the process, the data were captured. And the most important is that the task for a supervisor was already created to approve this customer. And after the supervisor does it, a record of this customer will be created in the system. So here we are. We see it's automatically created after approving, and the data are here. Now we are coming to the most exciting part. So it's about how do we create definitions, how business users do it. And the first example is, imagine that you have an already defined document, but there are some handwritten notes on it. What do we do with that? Here the business administrator says, I would like to extract it. He gives some system tips, like this is an email pattern. And he says it can be found anywhere on the page. And then business administrator trains the system. And in this case, if such documents are coming with the handwritten emails on them, then they can be extracted and the content is coming. So you see here an example. And this is like magic. Here we are. Another example is when completely new document type is coming to the system. And then the business administrator says, okay, yes, we need a new document type. And what would we like to extract from this document type? The name comes, the content is selected and drag and drop. And then he gives some tips. Okay, this can be found near the keyword, and the keyword is Mr. Mrs. He submits it, and then proceed in such a way with other fields. His patient number, he also drag and drops it, and could also give the tips that it's near the keyword, but also can say that this is on the same place of this page. Then, of course, he trains on the system. This is controlled training. And then if a similar document is coming, means not very similar, but with similar logic, then it can be extracted. If you have the same keywords, if you have the same position for the patient number, and you see here how it is done. And the latest implementation, we're working on it, many our customers wish to have it. It's table training. Of course, we can create table extraction definition with the Papyrus Designer, but here the business user can do it as well. So he gives in the same way like we did with the new document and with the form, he gives the system the tips which content have to be extracted, near which keyword or near which column it is, and then he trains the system. Yeah. So here we selected the tariff, and we jump a little bit over, so that we don't see all fields, and we now do the last one, the amount. The user specifies that it's the amount pattern, and also gives some tips. It's near the amount keyword here. So he submits it, trains, and voila, seeing what is extracted. This controlling is very important to see how the system has been trained, and you see the table is here. You may ask, how are we sure that the production system is not influenced by all these changes which are now being trained and maybe trained a little bit more and so on? And the key is change management system, which is placed behind the scenes and which controls after the business administrator is ready with changes, what happens next? And the next is automatical comparison of results of samples with productive version, and then giving a supervisor, a test supervisor, a possibility to see what is this difference. And here in this view, the supervisor sees that most of the fields are the same as in production version, and one new field came here. And for this new field, he can decide, do we approve it and promote to production, or do we send it back to business administrators if it was not wished? So for this, I think now this is the most important things I would like to share with you today. So thank you very much for your attention. Maybe we have got some more questions from our audience.
Yes,
so,
in fact, we do that.
Okay.
I would like to ask you and forward to you. So, what are the best practices, and how would you train the system to get best results?
Well, so first of all, you need to have training sets. And the training sets means that you have representative documents for all your document types, and you have also anonymized documents. And here you need to have the training samples also for every of your language and also for every of your inbound channel. So, and here don't forget about emails and email attachments. For that, you also need to have training samples. Then it's also very good to have test samples. So you do training in the business environment, so in the business designer with the training samples. Then you evaluate if the result is good for you, and you evaluate it with test samples. And if you need some extension, then you can do it also either with the business designer by retraining, or for more complicated field, it may be required that you do something in the capture designer.
That's very interesting, Ekaterina. One other question would be what our customers or the audience should expect from this solution. Would they be able to automate everything 100%?
Oh, well, every of us, I think, wants to automate everything to 100%. And here, we maybe would not do 100%, but actually we had one customer with fixed forms in the Switzerland who did extraction for elections, and they reported to us that they had almost 99.9%. Yeah, but this is more in exceptions. In the average, our customer have 80 to 90% of automation. So the result, and it of course depends on your project, on your document, which sample sets you have, and so on. But you can be oriented on these numbers, 80 to 90%. What can I say more? We have also one customer in Austria. They are in the mass media branch, and they are doing extraction of the handwritten content from the forms. And they also reported to us that the percentage is quite high. So I hope I answered your questions.
And this is an amazing number, so it sounds really great.
Okay.
So thank you very much for your presentation.
You're welcome.